Hello everyone, welcome to the Subject Verb Agreement lesson, which is a grammatical rule in the English language. Some of the most common mistakes in English are with Subject Verb Agreement. This part is one of the important parts. Don't worry, you are going to learn all the rules on this channel. To start, let's go ahead with basic concepts. In a sentence, the verb must agree with the subject. They must match. For example, if the subject is plural, the verb must be plural. If the subject is singular, the verb must be singular. She goes to the restaurant on Saturdays. In this sentence, subject is singular, so the verb should be singular too. They go to the restaurant on Saturdays. In this sentence, subject is plural, so the verb should match it. Maybe you ask a question, if the subject is you or I, how should we match the verb with the subject? I'm sure you know that I and you are singular subjects, but we don't match them with singular verbs because there are exceptions to the rule. Even though there are singular nouns, they take plural verbs. When you is the subject, the form of the verb remains the same as in the base form of the verb. You enjoy playing the piano. In this example, enjoy is the infinitive form. When I is the subject, the form of the verb is also the same as the base form of the verb. I go to the restaurant on Mondays. Go is in the infinitive form. In present tenses, nouns and verbs agree in opposite ways. It means that if your subject is plural, you usually add s to show that the subject is plural, but you don't need s to your verb. The students study diligently. We don't say the students study diligently. However, when the subject is singular, our verb needs to include s or es. The student studies diligently. The cat jumps on the bed. Now, if the verb is an auxiliary verb in your sentence, you need to think about subject-verb agreement. The main auxiliary verb in English are be, am, is, are, was, were, have or has, do or does. An auxiliary verb, also known as a helping verb, is a verb that is used alongside the main verb in a sentence to convey additional information about the action or state expressed by the main verb. Their usage depends on the specific structure and the purpose of the sentence. I'm going to tell you how you can use it in your sentence. In present simple, for singular subject, use the auxiliary verb does in negative or question form. Does she read books every day? She doesn't read books every day. In the affirmative form, we omitted the auxiliary verb. She reads the books every day. For plural subject, use the auxiliary verb do in negative or question form. Do they play football on weekends? They don't play football on weekends. In the affirmative form, we omitted the auxiliary verb. They play football on weekends. In past tense, for negative and question sentences, we use the auxiliary verb did for both singular and plural subjects. Here you can see two forms of sentence with the auxiliary verb did. Did she visit the museum yesterday? They didn't visit the museum yesterday. In the affirmative form, we omitted the auxiliary verb and then the regular verb is formed by adding the ed suffix to the base form of the verb. She visited the museum yesterday. In present continuous tense, for both singular and plural subjects, use the present continuous tense form of the main verb with an auxiliary verb am, is, are. Is she reading a book right now? She is not reading a book right now. She is reading a book right now. There are present continuous tenses with singular subjects. Let's move on to some example with plural subject. Are they playing soccer in the park? They are not playing soccer in the park. They are playing soccer in the park. In past continuous tense, for both singular and plural subjects, use the past continuous tense form of the main verb along with an auxiliary verb. The auxiliary verb was is used for singular subject and were for plural subject. Was she studying all night? She was not studying all night. She was studying all night. For plural subject, were they playing music loudly? They were not playing music loudly. They were playing music loudly. In present perfect tense, use the past participle form of the main verb along with an auxiliary verb has or have in three forms for both plural and singular subjects. She has eaten breakfast. She hasn't eaten breakfast. Has she eaten breakfast? For plural subject, they have visited the museum. They haven't visited the museum. Have they visited the museum? In the past perfect tense, for both singular and plural subjects, use the past participle form of the main verb along with an auxiliary verb had. He had finished his work before the meeting. He hadn't finished his work before the meeting. Had he finished his work before the meeting? For plural subject, they had studied for the exam all night. They hadn't studied for the exam all night. Had they studied for the exam all night? Let's keep going on with modal verbs. Modal verbs like may or might, can or could, will or would, must, shall or should are also auxiliary verbs. They help the main verb in the sentence, but the subject-verb agreement rules are different with modal auxiliary verbs. When using a modal verb with the main verb, the form of the verb doesn't change based on the singular or plural subject. It means that the main verb is never in S form. It is always in infinitive form. I'm going to give you some examples with singular subjects. She can swim very well. He must finish his homework before dinner. It might rain today. She shall overcome all obstacles. She will always support her friends. Let's give some examples with plural subjects. They could come to the party if they want. We must follow the rules of the game. The students may choose their own topics for the research project. The students should complete their assignments on time. They will arrive late if there is traffic. In this part, you'll learn how the verb form changes depending on the subject. I hope this video is helpful for you. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please subscribe and press the bell icon to get notified when the new video is uploaded for part 2. And also let me know in the comment what type of lesson you would like me to make in the future for you. Good luck.